Welcome to the All Access Podcast from the experts at Tevis. Each episode, we'll talk about technology topics, trends, or solutions that manufacturers need to know in today's rapidly evolving times. Sit back, enjoy the discussion, and let us know what you think.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the All Access Podcast. I am your host, Michael Thiessen. Welcome to all of you guys out there. You know, we're always trying to bring you topics that are beneficial to you and that can bring value to your everyday aspects of life, your business life, of course. This particular segment makes me extremely excited to talk about this particular topic, mainly because it's a little bit of a passion of mine. It's a little bit of a hobby of mine. That doesn't mean that I'm very good at it, but in any case, it brings you guys a lot of value, this particular topic. And what we're going to be talking about over the next 25, 30 odd minutes is we're talking about marketing. Of course, you don't want to hear marketing expertise from me, your host, because that would not hit the nail. We're going to be talking to a true expert, a real expert that can give you advice of what to do when you deal with marketing. All of you guys do marketing to some extent or another. That is a fact. All of you guys are producing parts. That is also a fact. Now, the thing is, how are you going to get that message from your part production to your consumer? That is where marketing steps in. And all of us, what we want to do is we want to have it so that consumers contact us to buy the parts, and not that I have to look for people that want to buy my product. That's what we're trying to do. So I'm really excited to have this particular person on the show. She is a true expert when it comes to the area of marketing. She has been doing this stuff with communication and marketing for 25 plus years. She deals with automotive companies, with large companies, small companies, manufacturing companies, tier ones, small plastic processors, and so forth and so on. She is the founder of the WayPoint Marketing Communications Group, and she's pretty much helping clients on every single day on finding out their visibility, increasing their visibility, optimizing their awareness, and making sure that this product goes from your office to their table. Without any further ado, here's Shelly Otenbaker. Shelly, hey, welcome to the All Access Podcast.
Thanks, Michael. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk marketing with you.
Awesome. Well, we are excited to have you there. And I think our listeners are excited too, because marketing is such an important topic that a lot of people don't realize of how much marketing actually they're consuming on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. And it's only increased as different digital means have become more popular. So you're correct. We as consumers are receiving messaging and marketing on an ongoing basis throughout our days, everywhere. I mean, we all know it's in our social feeds, it's in our email, it's everywhere that we're at. So certainly from a B2C perspective, us consumers consume marketing all the time.
Can you imagine how boring life was when it was just magazines and paper marketing and all that kind of stuff? I mean, now the world has opened up so much. There's so many different marketing channels and ways to communicate with the consumer. It almost is mind-boggling of how many channels are out there.
Mm-hmm. And all too frequently, manufacturers think that some of those channels don't apply to them, but really they do. Not every channel that we as consumers find our information from, but there are a lot of those channels that manufacturing can take advantage of as well.
Right. So, of course, the definition of marketing sometimes gets interpreted by people totally differently. So here's my $1 million question. What is your definition of marketing? Because you are the expert.
Yeah. So I think oftentimes people think that sales and marketing are the same thing, and that is not true. I would define marketing as strategies and tactics that companies use to generate leads. So essentially, I always say they're creating an opportunity to sell. So identifying leads, and a term that we use a lot of time is putting them in the funnel. So identifying a lead and starting to help mature that lead so that they're ready to make a purchase. That's my definition.
It's not just reaching out and then to a consumer just to sell something. It's actually creating a lead already in order to be almost like this filter before the sales channel that it goes into the salespeople, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and making the sales easier.
Yep. I say marketing and sales are best friends. So, marketing helps to identify the leads, and then, helps sales have an opportunity to basically mature and close the deal. So, where the marketing sort of starts and gets the lead interested in your company, and then marketing and sales work together to move the lead into consideration for buying, and then sales sort of closes the deal, sells the product, and then continues to work with that customer to make sure they're happy with the client, with the products, and so forth. So continuing to build that relationship.
It's this smooth handoff from your side, which is digital, to when it comes to my side, being the sales manager for Tebis, is we're taking then this particular lead hands on and doing a lot of hands on work with this particular customer in order to introduce more functionality to this customer of what he's looking for. But essentially, with you, this is where the ball starts. You are creating interest. You're creating a channel for this customer to say, okay, I want to purchase X, Y, and Z. What is out there? And because of your capabilities and your marketing, this gives them then this possibility to reach out to us in order for us to sell them this particular product.
Yep, absolutely. Awareness. We're making again, we talk about outgoing and incoming, and really the focus today for most companies are trying to get leads to come into them. So marketing is really trying to attract leads through their marketing efforts, so that again, sales can do their business. We're all in lockstep. We're working together.
Right. You mentioned a very important word that I want to dive a little bit deeper into this, and you said the word awareness. Awareness is looking at it as well in an area of brand awareness. So if a company or if a consumer out there, let's take, for example, Nike or Adidas, World Cups going on, all of those kind of things. So there's a lot of sports stuff out there, and a lot of marketing out there. And of course, there's names that are familiar to you. People automatically are drawn towards this. So if my kids want to go out and buy basketball shoes, they go out and buy themselves a Nike basketball shoes. Why? Because they've seen X, Y, or Z person wearing it, and that's what they're going after. So the brand awareness has already been established. They don't have to do a lot to have the consumer ask, well, what should I buy? They already know this. What about the mold makers and the die makers? How can they get their brand more out there, make their brand more aware so that they don't have to look for work, essentially, that the work comes to them?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. And it's not an easy answer. So for the, mold and die makers out there, they are, each mold and die maker has a specific aspect of their business that makes them unique, that they do a certain type of mold or die, certain processes, big, small, certain sizes, all of these things make them interesting to a different set of customers. So not unlike Nike selecting a soccer player to wear their shoe because they want to sell more soccer shoes. We would be positioning as a mold and dye shop, trying to position the company and leverage those and communicate those unique aspects to those specific audiences. So, that's the key for the mold and dye maker, is to identify who those audiences are that you want to talk to, and then align where you can best intersect with those audiences. The one place that will always be there and continues to be very important is on the web, on the internet. If your website is old or dated, doesn't have accurate information, isn't easy to use, doesn't have all of your differentiators on there, then it's going to be more difficult for people to find you. There's a lot of statistics and data out there that shows that a lot of the legwork before somebody even reaches out to a company to make a purchase is done online. They do their due diligence. So to me, that's sort of the foundation and the number one starting point for the tool and die makers.
Right. And I think a lot of them are doing their due diligence nowadays with everything. I mean, when we buy our products via Amazon, we look at how many ratings, how many consumers have purchased it, what did they say, what did they do, looking at all those reviews. And it's so interesting. And when we say back in the day, it's not all that long ago, because I have to assume that over the last 3 years, marketing has made some huge jumps. And why do I say 3 years? Before COVID, after COVID, did you see a big differentiation between what marketing did and how marketing maybe used more digital ways of communicating? What did you see from your side on the marketing side?
Mm-hmm. I think as we look specifically for manufacturers, prior to COVID, the sales process and the marketing activities were much more traditional, I will call them. There were some big events that people would go to. They would exhibit or attend and make connections. It was heavily reliant on relationships that were face to face. We would go to lunch. We would grab breakfast. I'd stop in your shop. There was a lot of face to face interactions. Plant tours or facility tours. People would get in the plane or the car and drive to a plant and see for themselves. Do they have the equipment we need? Do they have the skill sets that we need? All of that was very much more in person, and because of COVID, the industry has really, really had to transition to being much more digital. So building relationships via social media, or Zoom or LinkedIn, or, all of these different tools that really emerged over the last 3 years. Podcasts, for example, all of these tools that have really emerged. Manufacturers have had to figure out, how can I leverage these, maybe put some new tools in their toolkit and really see what works for their company. So yeah, it's been a big transition, and I think a lot of companies, if you haven't made changes to your marketing over the 3 years, you probably do need to, take a look at what you're doing and how you could be more effective.
So for some of these mold shops and dye shops that are listening right now, what would you say should be their number one thing if they want to change something? Was it going to be updating their website, or what would be the number one that gives them the biggest bang for their buck?
Yeah, to me, it would be the website. So making sure your website is updated. And if somebody comes, there's two parts to it. It's updated and it has all current information. Does it accurately communicate the problems you help customers solve, what you're really, really good at, and then what equipment and equipment and skill sets that you have in your shop. So, what are the ranges and dyes and molds you can make? What are some of the secondary processes you can do so that a company can easily check, yep, they've got this, they've got that, they've got this. This is exactly what I need. I'm going to put them on the short list. So that's one. And then second is a term called SEO, or search engine optimization. So working to make your website more visible to people who are looking for a mold shop or a dye shop or what have you. So what are those keywords that people are doing and searching for online that will help you be more visible to them? So if they aren't necessarily aware of you, they might stumble across you and can become more aware of you. So to me, that's the biggest bang for your buck. It does not have to cost a ton of money. There are so many different partners that companies can work with to build a website. There are tools today that are so much easier to build. You don't need to know HTML or any special language. You can really build a site that can be modern and updated easily for a fraction of the cost of the past.
Right. And a web page needs to be easy to read. Not a lot of words. Let your pictures, your videos, your messaging speak for itself, because the more words that are on a web page, and I see this quite a bit because, of course, me being in a sales role, we go onto websites and we look at various websites and we see a whole different slew of different tactics that those companies are doing. And to me, the more words, the negative effect it has.
Yeah, no, I mean, think about how you yourself scroll through the internet. And if you can't find what you want in a minute, you're off the site and on to something else, because you don't want to waste your time, and you can find it somewhere else. So it's the same in a manufacturing environment or in a B2B world.
What about YouTube? Would you think YouTube is a good channel to do this kind of stuff as well?
I think YouTube is an amazing channel. So YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google. So again, a very good place to become visible. And manufacturing is very visual. You're making something. You start from one thing and transform it to another thing. There's a lot of equipment and technology that's used. So being able to share that or show that visually via video is a great asset to have. And again, people don't have to physically come into your facility to get a sense, is your shop clean? Is it organized? Is it, is it well run? Because they can see it via video. And today, again, through COVID, we've all learned that a video doesn't have to be 100% highly produced and something that, people, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars. Yes, there is a place for that, but there's also a place for, just a GoPro setup, capturing, some manufacturing processes and some voiceover to it, or even some words on it. So there are definitely ways to do YouTube or video and have it on a YouTube page or on your website, and both, in fact, and that can also help you be found.
You're 100% correct. Whenever something breaks in my household, I just had a washing machine breakdown. What's the first thing I do? Not Google it. I YouTube it. Want to make sure if I can find some kind of repair, some kind of suggestion of how to repair it or what to look for a part. And sure enough, I found the part, went on Amazon, bought it. It was there in 2 days. I had clean clothes again. And it's simple as that. And those videos, we see them everywhere nowadays. It seems like videos surround us. I mean, people with iPhones and I'm going to call them stupid cameras, always on. But that's what companies can do. They can very easily create as a very small minute promotional video and put it out there and see what companies think.
Yeah. And I encourage people to just start trying. Again, maybe your first 5 videos don't turn out great, but the 6th and 7th and 8th are. So, you learn from your mistakes, and then you do the next one better and the next one better. So, certainly, you just kind of have to draw a line in the sand and leap off and decide, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to focus on, and then go from there.
What about social media? can social media, I mean, we always get asked, does social media sell? What's your suggestion on it?
I would say social media doesn't sell, but it does increase awareness and helps people understand what your company is all about. So regardless of what happens in a business to business environment, people still like to buy from people. So in your social media channels, whether when you have a company account, like for business to business, LinkedIn is certainly the best place to be. You've got a company account. So if you can be communicating via that and sharing information about your company, about your culture, about your people, and engaging with customers and other people within your industry with those channels, it's just like going to a trade show. It's essentially an online trade show that never ends. You can always go there and always connect and say hi and congratulate somebody or learn something. It's a great tool for learning about what is going on in the industry, what's going on maybe with a particular customer that you're pursuing. So from a company perspective, it's great. And then from an individual perspective, I think that was one of the biggest things during COVID. We talked to a lot of individuals about, how can you improve your profile so that you are putting your best foot forward, as well as how to engage with a total stranger. Again, something that we didn't necessarily do a ton of, unless you were, I don't know, online dating, I guess. But so we didn't do a ton of that before COVID.
Right.
So, it was new to reach out to somebody who maybe you didn't know or you had a loose connection with, and then, seeing if there was a problem that you could solve for them with your solutions.
There's hundreds of social media channels out there. Is one better than the other? Of course, we all know LinkedIn, which is considered the business social media outlet. But what about Snapchat and all those other things? My kids probably know it a lot better than I do of all those different things that are out there. Is there such a thing as too much?
Of course there's too much. I mean, in your own world, you almost have to pick and choose. Like, I can't stick with all of them. So I got to pick a winner. And that's the one that, whatever serves your best purpose for yourself. And it's the same thing for a company. My recommendation is always don't bite off more than you can chew. So if you only have time for one social media tool, then to me, it's use LinkedIn. If you want to look at other tools, I think you just need to build a strategy around those tools. Facebook's demographics tend to be a little bit older.
Thank you.
Tend to be a little. I'm older. I'm just saying, Facebook demographics tend to be a little bit older, and I think people spend time on Facebook maybe not as much to do business, but more to understand the culture of the business or things that are happening. Twitter, I think, is more driven by news, so they what instant information, like what's happening today and responding on things that are happening today. And of course, Twitter may evolve. You've got a new owner, and it sounds like things are swiftly changing. So every social media channel has audiences, and if you have a good reason to be on it and the resources to be there, I think you could consider it. But to me, for this audience of manufacturers, LinkedIn is a must do, and the others would be sort of a nice to have kind of thing.
Is there such a thing? I mean, of course, we here at Tevis, we have our own marketing guru that works very closely with you together. But for individuals and companies, that our workers at these particular mold shops, I mean, they can engage as well and promote their company because they work there too. They can put this out on social media as well. Is this a good idea for individual employees to do this? Should there be a rule in place that says, hey, only speak good things, don't go into the dark side and post some negative things because it could have an effect on the company? What's your advice on that?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that it's good to have employees participate in social media. We like to think of your employees as ambassadors. So they're ambassadors for the company and they can share their experiences. Again, people like interacting with people. And if you're, different level of employees engage with different people in different ways. So it all helps with awareness. We think it's a good idea to have some social media guidelines in place just to help people understand the type of information they should share and the type of information they shouldn't, as well as what the intention of the tool is. So, just so that they keep in mind that that there are, certain aspects that are confidential amongst your business and that can't be shared, whether it's, a customer product thing that shouldn't be shared or financial numbers that maybe you don't share within your company or whatever they might be. We just feel like it's a good to have guidelines. And again, if, in this case, your marketing folks or the people that are running your social media should just continue to monitor and make sure that everything's, above board that's being talked about as it relates to your company. Because it could be anybody could say anything. So in this day and age,
that is 100% correct. Now, you deal with companies, and I said this at the very beginning of the podcast, you deal with small companies, you deal with large companies, and everything in between, of course. Do you see any big differences in some of the marketing activities that the larger groups are doing versus what the smaller groups are doing?
Yeah, I think all of the tools and tactics are very similar. It's just the scale. So it really goes to the, larger companies have more manpower where, a smaller manufacturer or mold and die shop may have a marketing person, may have sales and marketing doing the same thing, or may not have anybody, or they may outsource it. So it really, in a larger company, maybe they have a couple people in their marketing team. So it's really about scale and what you have the ability to do based on your resources. And frankly, everybody's resources are constrained at some spot in time. So the key is to, just understand what is your budget, what is your time allocation for the projects, and then prioritize, like, what is the most important thing that we want to do in 2023. We want to button up our the back end of our website and make sure we're SEO compliant. We want to focus in on video, and we want to make sure we're leveraging our CRM the best we can. So those are the three priorities from our marketing team. So it just depends on all the tools are the same. And in fact, sometimes it's easier when you're a smaller business because you're more laser focused on, this subset of customers, and this is what we need to achieve from a business perspective, and this is the percentage of sales that we want to grow, and here's where we're going to grow. And being that particular helps with marketing because you can really laser focus in on how to achieve that who to talk to achieve those growth numbers.
Do you see in the smaller companies, you already said sometimes in the small companies it's even easier, but do you see that marketing responsibility, they may not have a marketing person per se because they just don't have the budget for that. Would you say that this marketing responsibility falls onto the sales individuals or the sales people? Because sales and marketing almost seem to be connected at the hip. As you said, marketing is the filter for sales. Would you say that this is more than a sales responsibility of coming up with some marketing messages, social media posts, and all that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm. I think that it's natural to fall within sales because, again, we work in concert with sales. It's almost like we're, dancing together. We're, marketing can follow your lead. So I think it aligns with sales, and sales can inform. You're talking to the customer every day, and you're going in and saying, here's what our solutions can do for you, and the potential customer saying, well, here's my concern, and can it do this, and here's what we're really looking for. That information is gold to take back and talk with marketing people about, and saying, like, here's, I keep hearing this over and over, here's how we address it. So we need to take however we address that thing and talk about it more, because we think that people need to be aware that we're addressing this need that we're seeing in the marketplace. So sales has intelligence that really does inform the marketing strategy. So it does make sense that if there isn't a marketing person on exclusively marketing, that it's aligned with sales. And even if there is a marketing person, I was at an event and I was sitting in a sales roundtable with it was a bunch of plastics processors. And the one sales guy is like, I hate marketing. And I was like, wait, what do you mean you hate marketing? You should love marketing. They are your best friends. And by the time I got through like the end of the discussion, I think I had him turned a corner away from hate, and was like, I think that he was going to open the door and maybe embrace his marketing team a little bit more. So yeah, certainly they're in lockstep.
I mean, it has to be. I mean, how else are you going to get your message out? If you want to be a successful sales guy, you have to have a little bit of marketing in you. And that's why I think marketing is fascinating, seeing the different types of slogans and ways to communicate out there. And of course, being a international company that we are at Tebis, seeing the different marketing strategies that our team in Europe does totally different to the way how we are doing it. I mean, how do you build this strategy? I mean, the Europeans probably are thinking their strategy is perfect. And of course, when we bring this particular messaging over here, the consumer does not react to that type of messaging. So we often on our side have to change that messaging that's more advantageous for us over here. What sets that?
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly there are regional differences with how, there's a couple things, how visible companies are in their regions, and, the differences of needs across regions. There's some manufacturers in Europe may resonate with certain needs or certain industries that they need to address, where the needs here in the US are different. But certainly the people that we're talking to have different priorities. They just look for different features in what they want to purchase. So to me, the key is, regardless of whether it's regional or different industries that you're focused on, because even if you're one company and you sell to, say, aerospace and medical, what you say to aerospace and the tactics and strategies used for aerospace might be different than they are from a medical perspective, just because those audiences are consuming your product differently, even though it's doing the same thing. So the key in my mind, is to understand who you're selling to, what are their wants and needs, and then how do your products intersect with those? And that's how you start to develop your strategies.
Is there something when it comes to marketing that most people are overlooking?
Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a turn, but the thing that I think a lot of people overlook is that the marketing that you're creating to sell products to customers can be utilized to sell your company to potential talent. So the content that you're building for your social channels and a lot of the materials that you're putting on your website, all of that can be used for talent attraction and retention. So it's also important again, from a small manufacturer's perspective, talent has been something that has been a concern of many of them, that you're looking at your marketing and saying, how can we leverage our marketing materials for attracting talent, or can I take a few marketing dollars and you just slightly modify things and use that for talent attraction too. So yeah, that's the one thing that I think, especially in the manufacturing arena, that is not necessarily thought of frequently, that we can get better bang for our buck, and we can try to get a lead from a sales perspective and a lead from a talent perspective with some of the same tools.
You are so right. I mean, when I think about marketing, I think about marketing of my product. I don't think about marketing me as the company in order to attract future employees to find us and to come to our company. I mean, that's brilliant. And I think a lot of companies and a lot of listeners should listen up to that this is an important item to do when you do marketing. Don't think only about marketing of your product in order to make more revenue from that. Try and position your company in such a way so that you're visible, not just to consumers, but also to people that want to work for you. And we are in such a crisis with the labor market right now that you can't find people anymore. I mean, I was talking to a plumber earlier this morning. They can't find enough people to follow in those footsteps. But it's not just a U.S. issue. It's a global issue. I was talking to our friends in Germany earlier today. They can't find painters. I mean, there's an easy solution. Here's a brush and go at it. But that's the situation that we're all falling in. And utilizing your marketing dollars, utilizing your social media channels that you have out there in order to show companies how great it is to work for a companies such as Tevis. I mean, that's perfect.
Yep. You could easily go onto Tevis's LinkedIn page and see a little bit about the company, what they do, features about the people. You could participate. You could click and go onto this podcast and hear firsthand, about the company and things that they're sharing. So, it really does help people understand how the company operates and what it might be like to work there, and a little bit about their culture. So it certainly is. It is being used by people to pick and choose where they want to work. So you should just leverage that.
Right. Do you see any trends that we're doing? I mean, one trend was going away from paper marketing into the more digital world. Is there any trend that you're seeing right now in the marketing side from the various manufacturers?
Mm-hmm. To me, I think a couple of trends to watch are automation and customization. So as tools become more sophisticated, being able to automate some of your engagement, people opt into something so this is a lot of consumer companies are doing this. You opt into something on the website, you automatically get something generated and sent out to you for consideration of purchase or to help you make a more informed decision or what have you. So some of that automation, I think, is marketing automation is coming, is being investigated and being used a bit in manufacturing, but I think it's something that's going to continue to grow. And then customization, again, utilizing the fact that you don't have to make a printed brochure anymore. Again, dating myself where you'd make something and make 100 of them or 1,000 of them and distribute them. Everything is more customized now. So making specific marketing materials that are customized to even a customer, if that makes sense, or customized to a specific industry or a size of, whatever makes the most sense for your company, making those items that are very customized You can even make a customized landing page for a specific customer if you wanted, where, you have the project team on it, maybe a case study that would resonate with them, highlight the products that they are interested in. So to me, those are two things that are going to continue to grow. And of course, there's one last thing I'm going to put in there. If you don't have a CRM system, you should have one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So help you manage your leads and measure what's the most effective tool to help move leads or put leads in the funnel. So that's my only other plug. Yeah.
Since we're coming to the end of our segment here, what's the final piece of advice, the gold nugget that you have for our listeners out there, what they absolutely should be doing?
So I think people are going to hate this gold nugget, but I'm going to tell you, you need to identify your why. What makes your company unique? And then who are the best customers for that why? If you can really do some soul searching and nail that down, like, why should they use us versus anybody else in the industry? And what are those best customers? Like, look at your current customers. Who are those best customers? What do they look like? What is the size? What industry are they in? What do they want? And really build that out, because the more defined you can be in that way, the better strategies and tactics and messaging that you can create. So if you haven't sat down and said, and it's not just to be, like we do quality mold. Nope, everybody does quality molds or they wouldn't be in business. So what is it really truly that makes you?
So it's the what, the who, and the why.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's not always easy.
If you got those three things down pat, you're on the road of success, essentially.
Yep, I would say so.
Awesome. Well, Shelly, it was awesome to have you on this podcast. I know we're going to be seeing you a lot because we're engaging with you together, and obviously listeners can reach out to you directly. And if these are small companies that don't have a marketing arm, but they want to use an external marketing arm, they can, of course, contact you, no doubt.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I've had a great conversation with you, Michael. I wouldn't have expected anything less. So
wonderful. Shelly, enjoy yourself. Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, here you have it. Marketing, sales, we are connected at the hips. And if you don't have a marketing person in your company, don't worry. You can reach out to WayPoint. You can tell your salespeople that, hey, listen, utilize a little bit of that marketing magic and see what you can do with it. Follow some of those points that Shelly kind of laid out in terms of the who, the what, and the why. Lay those three things down. Utilize a CRM system to kind of connect with leads and kind of utilize this thing as a managing tool. And really be active when it comes to your social media presence. And you know what? She's right. When it comes to the labor aspect of it, utilize your marketing dollars in order to attract some fine young individuals to work in your company, because that makes all the difference in the world. Hopefully you enjoyed this particular topic, and we invite you to come and listen to us a lot more. If you have some ideas for future topics, send us your requests at marketing@tebususa.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we're looking forward to having you next time on the All Access Podcast. With that said, have a good rest of the week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining this episode of All Access. Please leave a comment or review with your feedback or what you'd like to hear in future episodes. To learn more about manufacturing technology solutions and Tebus's capabilities, visit our website at Tebus. That's TEBIS.com.